we have been waiting months to figure out what's going to happen to Jonathan Majors, what's going to happen to the new Avengers villain, Kang, and we finally got some answers. And it's pretty sad, I've got to say. Jonathan Majors is found guilty, and Marvel has fired him. So no more Jonathan Majors. We don't know if it's going to be no more Kang. We don't know if that character is going to get slashed, and we don't know if they're going to replace him with a new villain or what they're going to do. But we know for sure that Jonathan Majors will not be a part of Marvel anymore. So, yeah.
So I guess Marvel was surprised by the verdict, and he was cleared of any charges with intent. It was just reckless what he was doing, which, I mean, it's kind of picking hairs or whatever you want to call it, but still, I mean, I feel like maybe his career could be saved down the line where, this isn't bad enough to where he can never act again, but it's just too bad of a look right now for Marvel to keep him.
Yeah, it just kind of sucks, bro. And I can only speak to it so much. It's a messy situation, right? We don't know everything that's happened. We don't know what's happened behind the closed doors. We don't know. All we know is the video footage we were able to see and the charges. And we know he got acquitted for all the felony things. So yeah, he got harassment because he sent texts basically saying, don't report this, like this is going to ruin me. And then yeah, during the scene, he pulled away or pulled her arm or something and got a misdemeanor battery. Unintentional battery, whatever the heck. Just to say, it's not, he avoided all the major charges, but it sucks for him because all people are going to see is guilty verdict on all the articles, and not everybody is going to look into the thing and see, oh, he was, acquitted of actually the major stuff. But it's just such a messy situation, but it sucks that he didn't get a chance and Ezra went through all that stuff and WB still held him on. He still got to be the Flash. He still got to do all that stuff. And Majors, the only thing we see is a video of him running as fast as he can, trying to get away from this woman. And he just lost the opportunity of a lifetime. So we don't know all the facts, but I can't help but feel like he kind of got done dirty here. But he also seems like he's kind of a douche too. From everything else, the phone conversation we heard from the guy kind of seems like a D-bag. So, it's messy.
Text. He's like, I am a great man. I'm going to do great things. Dude sounds like Kang in real life.
Yeah, bro. Telling her she needs to be more like Coretta and be more like all the wives of the great leaders in Black history. And it's like, yo, you need to chill, man. But I don't know.
And it sounds like she had maybe a concussion too. And he's like, no, don't get that checked out. That'll jeopardize my career. It just didn't look good, man.
Yeah, she's like, I'm still dizzy or something. So
yeah, but my career,
not a good look.
Yeah.
The whole situation is just not. Neither of them seem to be the greatest of people.
Yeah, I mean the moral of the story is if you're in a toxic relationship, just get out of that crap before something like this happens. They obviously weren't good for each other.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
that's
a
mess.
big, huge, freaking giant bummer.
Yeah.
That we can't see his character specifically go up against all of our Avengers because he was a good villain. Like he played that role very well, even if he was written into his movie pretty bad.
He
did good in Loki, and he looked very regardless of how bad he was in or how bad the Ant-Man movie was, he came across as a very formidable villain. Yeah, I got beat by ants, but other than that, he seems like some dude who would show up in an Avengers movie and be terrifying.
Right.
So, do you think they will recast and keep Kang, or do you think they're going to move on to another villain?
I think they're going to move on. I think they could recast, and there's a few options out there, but I feel like they might pivot. I've already heard news about the Beyonder confirmed as being behind Secret Wars, but we'll get to that because confirmed doesn't really mean anything these days. So Doctor Doom, Beyonder kind of sidestep there. I could see that happening. It's tough when you make a scene with every single Majors face or every single Kang face being Jonathan Majors. So obviously you can still do it. Yeah. There's an infinite amount, but I kind of want them to recap. I don't know. I'm really torn on it. I don't know which one I want, but I think they might move on.
Yeah. So the rumors out there. So we talked before about how they dropped the Kang Dynasty title from Avengers 5 already, and it could be Secret Wars Part 1 and 2 now. They could just be going straight into that. Jeff Loveness was fired because they wanted to move on from Kang, but he was still a part of Avengers 5. And I guess like Doctor Doom is also supposed to be a part of Avengers 5. So they have been slowly trying to move away from him, I guess, since it first came out. And they fired Jeff because he was writing Kang Dynasty, all about Kang. And they wanted someone else to come in and kind of refresh the movie because of what Jonathan Majors did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like it's a really good opportunity to move on. Like now would be the only time, because he just did get defeated in that movie. You could almost just put a pin in him there. Or sorry, even Loki season 2, right? He pretty much is defeated. They're kind of looking for his copies, but he's not a problem anymore. So you have an opportunity to move on from a multiverse thing that the fans have not been that excited about. So it's like this Kang is the dude tied to this multiverse saga, and people aren't fans of the multiverse saga as much as they were before with the MCU, so you have a kind of good opportunity to just ditch, you're going to stick around for multiverse stuff with Secret Wars, of course, but you can tailor a brand new villain and make it feel fresh and make it feel like, a good MCU multiversal story, and whatever happened before, all that Kang era stuff can kind of get, put behind us, and we could, a new villain can carry us into the future.
Right.
Make this multiverse stuff a little better.
Yeah, you do have the opportunity. They do still kind of have the TVA's main mission now being to track down the Kangs, but so that leads to the other thing is, are they just going to abandon this and act like it never happened, or are they going to do a quick rewrite? And again, like we've theorized before, maybe have a scene where Doctor Doom shows up and takes out all of the Kangs who are gathered at that council. Are you going to like rewrite something real quick where they just all get wiped out by the bigger villain? Or like, how do you sidestep this? Because you still left off with the TVA there. But I agree, this could be that out for them. Which it kind of sucks though, because I was stoked for Kang. But yeah, they need to change direction in a lot of things. So maybe this is a part of it.
The great thing about like all that's left of his story as of we know right now is the TVA is just looking for variants. Like you could keep that. You could just not even touch that for another 10 years. Like from this point on, like they're looking for variants. You could include that into a story if you want. But if you really do want to use Kang in the future, you could always just pluck a variant out. And when the TVA finds this one variant, he's the big bad conqueror,
Yeah.
Right. Or just cut to the TVA in Deadpool 3.
There you go.
And just have Mobius pop, maybe like, we just caught the last Kang variant. We're all
That'd
good.
Be sick.
And that'd
be sick.
But it's crazy to think Endgame came out 4 years ago. Like, where have we gone since then? And
wow,
I really think Feige just needs to push on to Secret Wars, and they need to do a hard reboot with Phase 7 or whatever. It needs to be X-Men and Fantastic Four, and just all the characters that were there before should honestly just be wiped off the face of the earth. Maybe keep Spider-Man or one person, but they just they have to start over. They're in a bad spot.
Yeah, they are in a bad spot. So real quick, if they do Doctor Doom, when do you think they'll see him? Because I think the obvious one is Fantastic Four. I think at this point, if you're going to use him, you have to include him in that movie. Like more than a cameo or an Easter egg. Like you got to start developing that character in Fantastic Four.
Yeah, and you could get him in earlier. You can make mention of him. I'm trying to think of what projects are coming out next as far as that goes. I would like to see it drop
Deadpool 3,
soon,
you could do anything in that movie. You could.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Intro music. Boom.
Dave.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Why So Sidious. Got the full crew here, and today we're just going to kick back and talk about anything and everything that comes to mind revolving our little world of fandom. No structure, no specific topics. Just a couple talking points to get it going, but otherwise we'll just see where the force takes us. So it's laid back. Give us a follow on Instagram, TikTok, and X at Why So Sidious Pod. If this is your first time listening, we cover news on our Week in Geek episodes, character origins and history in our novice nerd episodes. We got comic reviews, movie reviews, and a lot of stuff. So I'll just kick it off with the talking point here. I got a few of them. And if the conversation, just let it roll. Did we lose Dave? Keep going.
He's coming back.
Keeping it going. All right.
Push on.
I have a question that I don't have an answer to myself.
Okay.
So what movie do you think it's more important that it succeeds out of Superman Legacy and Deadpool 3?
Ooh. I was gonna say Superman for sure, but after what we just talked about in the cold open, Deadpool 3 that's the next movie to come out too, correct?
Yeah. It's the only movie coming out next year for Marvel.
Oh, I think that's hard because and Superman is the first movie in James Gunn's universe, and that comes out next year as well, or 2025.
I think 25.
Dang.
25.
That's a really good question. I'm gonna say Deadpool just because Marvel really needs it right now, and James Gunn, he's got a fresh start. They'll give him a couple movies, and I feel like Superman is probably going to be a banger.
Yeah. Dave, you cut out, but the question was, what do you think is more important to succeed out of Superman Legacy and Deadpool 3?
Ooh. I'm gonna go Superman. If Superman bombs right out the gate,
okay,
with DCU, that's an entire universe starting off. That MCU, they've already kind of been bombing, so if they have another one, they still, par for the course. But DCU, if Superman Legacy comes out and it does bad, that's going to be brutal. Like DC, it's going to be hard to have faith in anything DC if they reset and it's immediately bad.
Seriously. Right. That's what I had down too, because it would not be able to pick up momentum, I think, if it flopped or if it sucked. Like with everyone who doesn't believe in DC right now. And let's face it, the DCU was a failure. I mean, like their whole universe, that took 10 years or so, over the course of 10 years, that did nothing even close to the MCU, and people lost faith. And this is your flagship, one of the Trinity. This is Superman, and it's going to kick off your new universe in a universe that like no one believes in anymore. And you only have one chance to reboot this, really. Because what if the whole DCU sucks? You're going to have to push on. You can't reboot again. It'll be another 10 years before they try it again. So, yeah. But on the flip side, you have everyone losing faith in Marvel right now. Deadpool 3 is the one movie that comes out next year. And it's kind of supposed to... It's almost a light reboot for me. I look at it that way because I feel like this movie's going to set shit straight, and we're going to have a general idea of where the MCU is moving forward. And it's something that's never been done before. Deadpool and Wolverine, that's huge. It's like as big of an announcement as like an Avenger movie.
It's like first pick in the Why So Sidious box office draft big.
Ooh.
Yeah, it sure is. But yeah, I mean, if you have it's kind of like a reboot. No one's got a lot of faith in Marvel. This movie really needs to succeed too. But I'd probably go with Superman. It's more important for Superman to succeed because you're always going to have your MCU fans. A lot of them will stick around, even if Deadpool 3 sucks. But it's still not going to look good for Marvel if Deadpool 3 sucks.
Not at all.
All right. How about this one? So, assuming Tom Holland signs on for Spider-Man 4, pick a villain or a story. What do you want to see out of Spider-Man 4? Level throw to you.
Well, after my Daredevil season 1 watch,
Ooh.
I want the Kingpin. And with him lurking in the shadows, he's obviously going to be an Echo. He's going to be a big character in Echo, which makes me super stoked for the show now. I want to see him. And if it's not him, I would like to see the Prowler. Let's get Miles Morales in this universe with the Prowler. He wouldn't be the main villain of a movie, but still in it. Maybe both of them, because with the Prowler, he's kind of doing the same underground, stopping people from doing his, stealing stuff, doing his own bad shit. So yeah, both of them. How about that?
Like it. How about that?
How about that?
Man,
Dave,
I'm delayed again.
what do you think?
Apologies for the folks at home. I'm sorry. Verizon is failing me. So if there's a 2-second gap out there, it's on me, everybody. What do I think? I think, and this kind of goes back to an episode that I just recorded with Star Wars podcast with Michael over there, because he's doing a series about who bought Avengers Tower. So he's having a bunch of people on. We're giving our theories, making our pitch, and then he's going to put it all together coming out soon. So I went with it being Oscorp. So I would love to see Norman brought into the picture. I want him in the MCU. He needs to be in here. We need Oscorp. Bring him in. Don't care how it happens. Don't care. Well, I don't know when Spider-Man 4 is coming out, but get him in there. Make it happen. And Oscorp will be rising to the top. And instead of Harry Osborn, we're going to have Ned, like in the comics, become the Hobgoblin. He will get to that point through some technology sort of Oscorp. Yes, I know it's hard to see the current Ned being the Hobgoblin, but they can make it work. We've seen crazier things happen, crazier transformations. But here's the aspect of it that I like. Peter Parker is going to have to fight his best friend who doesn't know that he's his best friend. So Ned's going to be fighting Peter. Good Lord, farting on Peter. He's going to be fighting Peter, and he's not going to know who he is. It's just Spider-Man. But Peter's on the other end going, this is my best friend I have to fight, but he doesn't remember him. So it's going to have that kind of crazy aspect to it because of the whole spell from Doctor Strange in the last Spider-Man. So, yeah, I want to see Norman. I want to see him there. But if not, my backup was Kingpin as well. We need to see Kingpin. Yeah, Ned doesn't remember Peter. So he's going to be fighting Peter.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, it'd be a wild dynamic.
Okay, now that would make sense.
Yeah. I thought I was just delayed,
cool,
wasn't getting responses.
Tech kind of gave... No, but if Ned gets his tech from Oscorp, and it's kind of like the Hobgoblin is your demo version of the Green Goblin that we end up getting or something.
Yep.
I also had Norman Osborn and Kingpin on mine, and I got one more, but couldn't agree with you guys more. Kingpin would be sick, and that'd be so different. We'd have a Spider-Man like gang war kind of movie, more like it would have more of a Batman feel to it, except the Spider-Man, lightheartedness. But a gang war, dude, freaking Kingpin, Daredevil style stuff, except Spider-Man. But Norman Osborn, if they did Norman Osborn, you could do it so different from the Tobey Maguire Green Goblin. Like you could do the whole Norman Osborn, very powerful, corrupt, good human relations with the media, and do a similar thing like that Kingpin would do. Norman Osborn's pretty much like a freaking leader of a mob, like a gangster himself in a way. And so you could do something so different, and those would be sick. And you really want them to develop Norman for the MCU as a whole. He should be a character like Loki that sticks around, causes problems here and there, just someone who's always in the background, which, should eventually lead to a big siege event at some point. But both those characters would be sick and something very different. The other one, and if you're familiar with comics, there's a villain named Morlun. I really, really want to see Morlun as a Spider-Man villain because he is super terrifying, way stronger than Peter. He doesn't die. He doesn't get hurt. But he comes after totems. And I think that could put so much cool mythology into Marvel with all the ideas of totems, like panthers and spiders and ants. And what that means for the character and that connection to like a spiritual realm with those animals. It's like an animal spirit. And Morlun is a villain who hunts totems that like attach themselves to a human. So a human totem, all they want to do is feed on these things. So they're scary, they're relentless, and would make a sick villain.
Straight up.
All right. Dave, you read any Morlun or anything, or just stuff I showed you? Or...
Just some stuff you've sent over in snaps, and I always hear about him, whether it's in comments or I've heard you mention him a few times too, but I've heard him pop up a lot about being a very intriguing Spider-Man villain. But yeah, I don't know anything about him.
Yeah, he'll come after Black Panther too. There's a big story around that. All right. Let's talk about Star Wars. So, if you were in charge of Star Wars, what movie comes out next? What trilogy comes out next? And it is not Mandoverse. So you can't do anything Mandoverse. You can touch the characters if you want, but new trilogy.
Whoa,
baby.
What are you going to throw down?
Dave?
Oh yeah. I know exactly where I'm going. We're going to the Old Republic. We're getting the hell out of the area we're in right now, and we're going to Revan. And we're doing a trilogy with freaking Revan. And the best part about that is, once we get there and establish these characters, we can go backwards or forwards in time for the next trilogies. It doesn't have to stay in that time zone. We can establish everything that goes on during the Old Republic and the Sith Lords and whatnot. And we can go back to the Sith Lord Malak's previous master. We can go back and forth all over. There's so many stories to tell in the Old Republic, and what better way to start than going to one of the dopest figures in Star Wars, which is Revan. So 100% that's my answer.
You know, I don't like, we got to make an official note, but after I read Revan, I'm pretty sure that's my favorite Star Wars book. Like, number
Straight
one.
up.
That book was so good.
Sick.
So good. Like, super. The story was really, really captivating the whole time, no matter what character's chapter it was. And all the characters in Mandalorian lore, and just, it was action packed. Definitely my favorite Star Wars book. That's amazing. Yeah. I went similar, and I would want to go. My next trilogy is going to be kind of like what they're doing. Apparently, they want to go back to the origins of the Force. Well, I would want to do the Bane trilogy, but tie that into the origin of the Sith. And I know that he was not the first Sith, but
they can change it.
Yeah, you could change it, separate yourself from the Legends books. And it's just such a fantastic character to follow for the central figure as the one who starts a Sith. And he did start the Rule of Two, but I think, and you could follow the events of the book really closely. And the Brotherhood, it's not like they're all Siths. It's just like they are a group, and they are going to try to build something like the Sith. It's just he's the one that came in and killed everyone with his thought bomb and became the leader of everything, and he develops the whole Sith idea. So there is that Brotherhood. You could do the same book pretty much. It's just he'll be the first Sith. And then the Republic in book 2, remember they like signed into legislation that Jedis are like going to be non-military anymore. Like the war is over. The Jedi's done. They're just going to be more peacekeepers. I don't know.
Right.
Politicians. I don't know what they're doing, but they did sign that into legislation. And so you could do book 2 like that. And instead of an existing group of a Jedi army that has been around for a while, the very few Jedi that interact with Bane in book 2 could just pretty much be like the first Force sensitive, like positive Force sensitive people that will end up becoming the Jedi. So you could still follow the events of book 2, just kind of rewrite who's a Sith and who's a Jedi.
Interesting.
And I think that would be so sick.
See that?
I think you should. I think you should leave the Jedi. I like the first part of it. Leave the Jedi should be the Jedi already, and maybe that's the part of the Sith, because that origin of the Force movie, I feel like is going to kind of show. I mean, there's no Jedi or Sith in that though. That's just the Force.
I'm sure they'll be Force sensitive people though.
Right.
Yeah.
But I did think it would be cool if you could do the first Jedi like that, and then you could see how they grow and develop into an army and ultimately intertwined into the Republic, and you could see how that happened. And they could even have like a Civil War-esque movie to get you there. Like some people don't want the government oversight, and some people are fine with the government oversight becoming the Republic and stuff like that.
Damn, a Jedi Civil War. That'd be
crazy.
Right?
Yeah, I just don't know how the super fans would feel about that, because I don't know anything about the Sith that came before Bane. He's the oldest Sith I'm familiar with. So, like, if there's a super rich story tied to the first Sith or something like that, they'd get mad. But if there's not, that'd be sick.
It's pretty deep. They have the Sith is a species first, so there's a whole deal, and then more and more as the Sith religion grew, it got away from only being that Sith species, and it became other species who were involved in more of a religion than the race itself, the race of Sith. But yeah, it goes back a ways. I don't know exactly the origins, but I just know it started off with that and some of the Sith homeworlds. But it'd be cool to switch it up. We still have legend stories to go back to. We don't have to do it the exact same way. So I wouldn't hate them being Bane as the originator of the Sith.
Yeah. Isn't it Darth Malak? Isn't he the Sith at the Sith in the Old Republic?
He's a Sith.
He's the
He's
red
not the
guy with the
Sith.
little horns.
Oh.
No, he's like
that's
the
his
Sith
master.
race.
His master is. Malik isn't.
Oh.
Malik's the bald white dude.
Oh.
But he in the in that cutscene,
right.
he kills his master at the end of that fight, and he's the Sith. He's got like the red tendrils on his cheeks and stuff. Yeah.
It blows my mind that we don't have any like Sith project. Yeah, the Acolyte's coming out, but
right.
If you talk to any Star Wars fan, their favorite books are freaking Plagueis, Darth Bane, Revan. It's all the Sith books. All the Sith books are the best, and even the comics, Vader, Maul. We love the villains. How has there not been just a Sith movie, like a Sith trilogy? Like, give us that side of the coin.
Well, that's my answer. Thank you for segueing perfectly into it.
I got
because I'm gonna go Old Republic though, because we've gone. I mean High Republic. Sorry, not Old Republic. High Republic, because we've always our answer for everything is always Old Republic. So maybe
because it's the best answer.
Base a movie off the Acolyte series. It is, but if the Acolyte series is dope, and the main Sith in that show, give her a trilogy where she's one of the or not the first Sith obviously, but the first Sith and the rebirth of the Sith.
Yeah.
I'm halfway through Rule of Two right now, and it's super freaking good. It's so different from book one, but it's just as good.
He found the girl, is that the end of the second? No, he found the girl, right?
No, yeah,
they start the girl with the girl. She kills her family.
She kills her family.
Right.
This is the beginning of the second one is when they start messing with Zana, but then she kills that whole crew of people that were like going to give her a ride. It's like, damn, she is committed to the dark side. She really is. And
she's crazy.
She like blew up her cousin's hand and left him in the cave.
Damn. That's right.
She's crazy.
It's all kind of coming back to me. It's been a while.
Is she in book 3?
Yeah, she's badass. Oh yeah, she's big in book 3.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But just wait for the duel at the end.
I remember.
Book.
I remember you guys talking about this duel at the end of book 2, man, and
so sick.
So I'm waiting for that one. I just don't know who Bane's going to be fighting, because there's nobody that knows he's alive. The Republic are like demilitarizing the Jedi. I'm excited to see what he has planned.
It's good.
There's Jedi point of views in the book too, right?
Yeah. His name is like Johon Athone or something.
He's like
Johon.
He's the Padawan of the Jedi who, right? He like survived the thought bomb. His master died or something.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't on the planet when the thought bomb exploded, but they go to they go to search and rescue, and he's the first one that touches down and starts thinking there might be a Sith alive.
It's like investigating.
Yeah. Yeah, I really, 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 really wish Star Wars would just drop something badass like that.
I got a pretty good idea for one. If you want to segue into the next topic we want to talk about here. So,
is this for?
If you don't, what's up?
I don't know what's happening.
Okay. Yeah, keep it on I'm going to segue. Subject.
I'm gonna segue into one of the next subjects that you had going on there, which was picking a character and a director for something. And one of mine, which is going right off of this, I think it would be dope to get a Darth Maul, following Darth Maul, running Crimson Dawn, directed by Denis Villeneuve. Like, let's just see a Blade Runner-esque type Darth Maul crime syndicate Sith movie going on. That'd be one of my picks, to have Denis take on a Darth Maul project.
That'd be sick. Yeah. What do you got for director and movie lab?
I have a couple. I have kind of a funny one. Christopher Nolan doing The Flash, though. So it's kind of an Inception 2.0 with The Flash.
Oh.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. And I do have... Is it Denis or Denis? Is Denis. The S silent?
I think the S is silent.
Denis Villeneuve, because you call him Denise. That's my mom's name.
Oh. I didn't mean to.
I think he would be good for... I'm going to say a Galactus Silver Surfer movie. Because he needs something that has like massive scale and scope And if you have Galactus out there, and that kind of story, it could work.
Love it.
I like it.
And then I have one more, and it's going to be Guillermo del Toro doing a Scarlet Witch movie.
Oh,
so he's good in that kind of horror thriller aspect.
Okay.
Yeah. That'd be sick. Nolan on Flash would be sick, dude. You need someone special for that character, dude. Because I just reread the whole New 52 Flash run, and the whole time it's just always the problem of he's just too fast to write into a reasonable story. It's just too fast,
too invincible.
Yeah, dude. You need someone really, really creative to do Flash right. I mean, it kind of works in the comics, but on the big screen, it's going to be tough. And they didn't really nail it in the Flash movie, the DC, whatever just happened this year, didn't really nail his powers in any special way. They should be special, different.
Yeah.
I picked Russo brothers on X-Men because they're good with the team ensemble cast. They're great with the comic book storytelling for adults. It really works. It's good, mature storytelling. It's not campy. The action's always good. The stakes are always high, and it's always written well under the Russo brothers. And the X-Men are just so important. They need the best possible directors like that because their whole entire story is such a social commentary on the world today. And it's hard to even pick an X-Men story that I'd want them to do because their stories don't revolve around villains. Their story revolves around their story, as X-Men, and what happened last year plays a huge role into the story this year. And it would be super hard. I wouldn't know where to start. I think First Class did such a good job starting an X-Men franchise. That is a hell of a way to do the first X-Men movie, build that team like that. That was really cool. But yeah, you couldn't do Messiah War Second Coming without going through House of M and knowing how important a mutant is. So we wouldn't care about Hope unless they already went through all this crazy stuff in the past, and then House of M happened, and then this first mutant born. We're not going to care about that until multiple movies down the line till we understand how important the mutant gene is.
Right.
You couldn't go to Krakoa until you saw the massacre on Genosha. So yeah, it'd be tough. I don't know. I wouldn't know where to start. But because you got to have the two things, society hates them, and you also have to have sometimes society likes them. In Dark Phoenix, when the president calls Professor X and asks for help, that's really cool to see. They're working with society, but their whole story is there's always that other half of society that just hates them because they're different from humans, and that's such an important part of the story. And then balancing Professor X and Magneto, who one wants to integrate into society and one wants to fight society. And it's this whole Martin Luther King, Malcolm X thing of what's the best way to have mutants and humans living on this planet. So it's such a rich story. There's so much potential, and you need someone like the Russo brothers to really nail that.
Yeah, that would be solid. I got a couple more too to toss out. I'm probably going to get crap for this one, but we just got to roll with the punches. Zack Snyder taking on Starkiller, and we're doing it in Elseworld style. This doesn't need to be canon. This does not need to fall into anything because I want full Starkiller potential. I want him going off. I want these insane scenes of just insane power. Let's follow the Force Unleashed story. I'm fine with it. Doesn't need to be canon, but I just want to see a Starkiller just fully overpowered, just dominating people. Vader involved.
After watching Rebel Moon, I don't agree with Kathleen Kennedy and Disney a lot, but I am so happy they turned that script down. Zack Snyder, please stay away from Star Wars and wherever else you're going to do it, right? Keep it to Netflix, buddy.
Hey, he wouldn't have to come up with his own story. Just follow it already written.
Oh, it's true. I know. No, he would be perfect for No, that would be perfect for him, Starkiller.
Dude, how much of that terrible, terrible dialogue was him or his writers? If Star Wars hired him, would he have way different writers and possibly could have been better. I mean, how much of that was him? Because it's pretty bad, dude. Like a lot of those conversations, quote unquote, like that dialogue was rough.
And well, it's not just that. And I mean, we're not gonna get into spoilers, obviously, but every character is so generic. Every one of them.
Yeah. So.
No. Bummer.
Yeah.
Bummer. Well, let me redeem it then real quick.
I also have a Christopher Nolan.
Oh. This is tough. Sorry.
You're good.
I'll throw it out right now. We're rolling. Nightwing, David Fincher. I want to see an edgy Nightwing story in Bloodhaven, post Batman, away from it. We're getting really dark and edgy. You know, we're getting kind of just the classic David Fincher vibe to it. A little Fight Club-esque type stuff going into it. Yeah, that's what I want. That's my next one. I think it'd be dope.
That'd be
7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be sick. But Nightwing's lighthearted. He's supposed to carry a lighter tone than Batman. I don't know if they did a Nightwing movie. I bet you it wouldn't be super dark, which is I don't prefer that. I like a dark Nightwing. Titans, that dark freaking Robin, and that was an awesome character. And his suit, it looks like he should be dark, but yeah, he is written as like a lighter character, which is
you're right.
But I also had a thought about Starkiller. So the problem with Starkiller, or doing the Force Unleashed, is I don't think you could have Vader in this story whatsoever, because it would just make Vader look not very strong. Because isn't Starkiller just absolutely insane power levels, like past Vader's?
Yeah.
In that book, it made it seem that way.
Yeah, he is. And I mean, Vader kind of keeps him on a leash, but
yeah. I just feel like you couldn't undercut Vader in the movies, but he would be an awesome character to just throw into the Old Republic or something, where he wouldn't make one of the most iconic villains just look weaker, you know?
You're right.
But my next movie is, I also went Christopher Nolan, but I gave him Green Lantern. And that's because he can nail the superhero stuff, Dark Knight, and he has the best space movie, in my opinion, Interstellar. So if you mix Interstellar and The Dark Knight together, throw a little coloring in there, give him a Green Lantern movie, I think that'd be sick.
We're dream casting here with all these.
Yeah. Oh man, I wonder if they do put Nolan on anything in the DCU. That would be nuts.
Oh, bring him back.
They're definitely going to ask him at least, you know. You gotta at least try.
Well, you would go with him, and James Gunn would go to him and say, "You want to do a DC movie? Do whatever you want. Like,
pick.
It's not going to be like, hey, pick. Basically, pick what you want to do and go for it. You know, make sure it maybe follows the story of the other movies. Don't go too crazy, but they wouldn't confine him."
You know what? I think he'd be good on a Wonder Woman project if you consider the scale of Themyscira, and like if he does a bunch of mythology, and that could be really epic and like big scale stuff, you know?
And it would quiet the doubters that he's not great at writing female characters, because they were talking about that after Oppenheimer. Yeah. You know, because Florence Pugh and John Krasinski's wife, I forgot her name, sorry, Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
Both of them were kind of, you know, and then there's obviously, in a lot of his movies, the women aren't the best character, you know, they're kind of just there. But so if he does Wonder Woman, kills it, you know. Hey.
Perfect. All right. Oh, that'd be sick, dude. I just can't wait to see all this. We're going to get directors and casting and all this stuff. It's going to be exciting next year. Okay. Let's stay on Star Wars, though, because real quick. First of all, what if Obi-Wan just killed Anakin on Mustafar? And second of all, dick fucking move to let your friend burn to death. If you were planning on letting him die, why didn't you give him a quick death? Like, honestly, you're literally going to let him burn to death when you know he's going to die anyway. Why not just give him a quick warrior death instead of burning to death?
Yeah, right?
Dude.
I think it's explained in the novel or something where, you know, he just couldn't bring himself to it. But
That's
if
Obi-Wan?
he did kill him, then Obi-Wan, Anakin, Mustafar. If he did kill him, Palpatine is going straight for Luke and Leia, and those are his apprentices, you know. He's going straight for the kids.
Oh, that's kind of written in somewhere that's what would have happened?
No, I'm just that's my theory, that part.
it's a solid theory. He would feel Luke, and he would go find him, and that might put the galaxy in a way worse position. Because remember, like,
and Leia,
and Leia, because remember, Vader did bring balance to the Force. Like his end, everything that happened up until that point needed to happen. So I feel like Vader's existence was crucial to the Emperor not completely 100% getting his grasp around the galaxy,
Did that get brought up? Sorry, I missed a little bit. Did you guys mention a certain thing that just dropped within the last 24 hours? Okay. You guys should check that out then, since we're talking about Mustafar. Fan film just got made. Clone Wars animation, Battle of Mustafar. It starts off with a deleted scene, actually, from Clone Wars that was an unfinished scene where Anakin and Obi-Wan are discussing Ahsoka leaving the Jedi Order, and Anakin's having a tough time.
I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, so that was deleted, and it's like, how would you feel if I failed you, and Obi-Wan's telling him, oh, don't worry about it. It's like, it's not that simple, dude. Ahsoka just left. Like, obviously, again, another reason, or another example of them just totally disregarding Anakin's emotions and just telling him to not feel anything after Ahsoka leaves him. Like, but anyways, so this fan took on this project and he redid the entire Battle of Mustafar in Clone Wars animation. And it looks so dope. It's just crazy how talented the fans are out there. And really, Lucasfilm should start looking towards the fan community, because they make some absolutely beautiful projects. So go check it out if you haven't seen it. It's on there. Just type in Battle of Mustafar Clone Wars animation. I forgot who did it. Sorry. But it's dope.
Yeah, I watched it. It was sick. And it sounded like they used the Clone Wars actors' voices, not Hayden Christensen. And
it was. I don't know if it was AI or not, though.
It probably was AI.
Yeah.
Because or just like some type of voice recognition system he has.
Who wins in a fight, Darth Bane or Darth Vader?
Oh, God. That's so tough.
Dude, to me,
Bane with the... You haven't got to Bane with the armor yet, right?
Good question.
With the organic armor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's in in book 2. It's gross.
Okay,
but it's really
super
creative.
Gross.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it, because from a storytelling,
I didn't like it either. Really,
it's unique, but it's kind of cool, but kind of weird.
Mm.
It's covering his whole body right now, except his face.
Yeah. It's like alive, right? It's like feeding off of him.
Yeah, and it also like brings in force energy for him to feed off of too.
Right. I think he takes Vader. Vader is he runs an era where there's literally no other Jedi. Yeah. There's no other force sensitive people out there. He is a badass. Don't get me don't come at me. Don't come at me. But like,
get 'em, boys.
When it comes to the Old Republic, when it's the Old Republic or it's now, like, it's a whole nother story back then, and I think Vader takes him.
It's like how Dave always says they grew up in freaking Middle Earth. Like, this isn't the Chronicles of Narnia. Mm-hmm. Like, just by living there, they are badasses. So yeah, the Old Republic definitely has that feel.
Yeah, I'd probably go Bane.
And then just real quick from our last Nerd Octagon, I forgot to do Doctor Doom versus Superman. So let's get into that. Who do you think wins this one? I'll throw it back to you, Lub.
Doctor Doom versus who again?
Superman.
Ooh, I'm taking Soups. Doctor Doom might win the first time, but then Superman will come back and win.
Cheating.
I don't know.
I got Doom.
Dave, you think Doctor Doom? You think Superman wins?
I got Doom. I got Doom.
Big time.
Superman's weakness. It's magic.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. And you have like the most formidable magic user, and willing to use the dark arts, the dark magic. He could probably flip Superman into another dimension. He could probably conjure his own kryptonite. I don't know, but Doom, I feel like, would crush Superman. Unless Superman just flew in out of nowhere and just squashed him with a punch that he didn't see coming.
Could do that.
Yeah. But it's hard to count out Superman. You know, he could always just frost breath Doom and freeze him in place before he conjures a spell and then hit him with the lasers. I don't know. It'd be tough, but with the magic, you got to go Doom, I think. Dave, what's a better movie? Captain America, the First Avenger, or The Flash?
Oh, God. Horrible question. It's good, but it's horrible. God, I probably have to go Captain America just because it's a more complete movie.
Really?
The Flash was just kind of like CGI throw up with dope cameos and dope appearances. It's tough, man. I'd rather rewatch The Flash. If it's a rewatch thing, I'd rather rewatch The Flash. If I absolutely had to rate it based on the quality of cinema, the quality of movie, I'd probably have to give it to First Avenger.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree on that on all fronts. Rewatchability, The Flash, better movie, Captain America.
Yeah, completely agree. I like The Flash, more when I see it. I actually just genuinely like the movie. It's not amazing, but I do like it. Yeah, I really just cannot stand the opening scene with the babies.
So
that
bad.
Really, really drops my overall score quite a bit. It's so bad.
So goofy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like the Batman action with Ben Affleck, that was all good. Like everything after the babies was sick. And yeah, the rest of the movie for me is pretty good.
Yeah.
I just really hate that story didn't come to us from the Reverse Flash. He's why this happens. Like he's a huge part of that story. So you kind of waste Flashpoint. But that is an old universe, so yeah, I wonder when we'll get a Flash announcement, because we're gonna have a new Flash movie someday. New cast. I think they're gonna wait quite a while, though. After this movie,
they should.
Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of DC, I kind of just want to talk about what you want from both the Batman 2 and also the Brave and the Bold. And when I think of this, you have to make it way different. If this is your freaking fifth Batman in the past 20 years, you kind of got to come at us with a new villain. But I think the freaking no-brainer way to make it super different is just start with Batman and Robin. Like, start the freaking Batman movie with him finding Dick Grayson and have a cool villain in the background, like a main villain, sure, but the story should be Batman and Robin on the live screen, which the only time that's been done before, it was awful. And, new universe, new Batman, make it different. Just start with Batman. Well, that's what they're fucking doing. I don't know why I'm getting all into this. That is what they're doing. Damian Wayne
I was going to ask.
Be thrown into Brave and the Bold. So that's good. Yeah, but then then you wonder if Dick Grayson and Jason Todd and Tim Drake are already around. I wonder if they're going to go that route, if they're going to go through the same order of the same Robins in the same time, or what. What would you want? Do you want Damian to be the first Robin, Dave, or would you want this Damian is showing up in a world where Batman's already had 2 Robins, 3 or whatever?
I'd prefer Robins already existing. I don't mind the idea of just Batman and then his son being kind of the first Robin, but I want Dick Grayson in it too much. And I like the idea. I think it adds to it with Damian having that older brother dynamic as well with whoever the other Robin is. That kind of adds to the tension and drama between Damian and Bruce and their relationship. That relationship between Dick and Bruce really influences that. So I think they should still at least have Dick, if not Dick and Jason. I would prefer that for the actual DCU story.
Yeah. How about you, Leb?
Yeah, because they've killed it with the Bat family in the animated universe. So it would be cool for Brave and Bold to just start off with maybe an older Batman. If we're gonna go Robert Pattinson is, year 2, year 3. Let's get a 45, maybe Ben Affleck age Batman, but he's part of a Bat family.
I bet you he'll be young, since this is the start of a new universe and he's going to be in the Justice League and hopefully he's signed on for more than 10 years. That's crazy to think about, because Iron Man, yeah, he signed on for a long time and yeah, he was there the whole time, but Batman is a much, much bigger character than Iron Man. You can you can never not have him in the DC ever. You can have an MCU without Iron Man, cannot have DC without Batman. So whoever is signed on, I really hope he's signed on for like 20 years, dude. I mean, you're always going to need Batman, and recasting would be pretty jarring, a character like that. So I hope, whoever signs on is in it for the long haul, because Batman's got to stick around.
Yeah, for sure. You also mentioned the Batman 2. I just need to keep rolling. I need to keep rolling because I know you're going to stop. I got to get better at this. So the Batman 2 with Matt Reeves there, you kind of mentioned what we would want something out of there, and I'm going to just tie it back into that. I would like Dick Grayson to be it, or Court of Owls, one of the two things. But I want to say we've gotten reports already that Dick Grayson will be in it, and also that Professor Pig will be in it, and also the Scarecrow will be in it, and I forgot who the fourth one was. But all these outlets are coming out with this as news. Batman 2 will feature Clayface. That was the other one. News. And then when you see the sources, I already went off on a rant about the My Time to Shine Hello page, where everybody treats it as like Variety reported it, and 90% of it doesn't come to be. But all the social media pages still report it as news instead of rumors. And the most recent guy is Daniel RPK. I don't know if you've seen him on sources there, but he's behind a lot of the Batman 2 sources. And so somebody posted saying, hey, Daniel RPK source, we're going to have Clayface, Dick Grayson, yada, yada. Well, James Gunn subtweeted it and said, not true, absolutely made up. And then the next day, more people are still posting news sources from Daniel RPK. And it's like, well, why are we giving this dude credit? James Gunn just called him out and said that's totally made up. And the next day we're still putting out, whoa, Spider-Man 4 will come out in 2024, says Daniel RPK. It's like, bro, like, why are we listening to these? I just don't get it. It drives me nuts. So there's my monthly or bi-monthly rant about social media sources and news. But I would like it to be true. I want Dick Grayson there. So
my problem with starting with Damian is, like, I feel like the Bat family has such a rich story to tell. Like each relationship with Batman as Robin is all super special, but the one for me is Jason Todd. And the whole Red Hood story to me is like one of the coolest stories for me in fiction. It's like a top 5 like overall stories. Love that story, from being Robin to being killed by the Joker, coming back as a villain, and just that whole Red Hood story I feel like needs to happen in the DCU. It's so integral to Batman and the Bat family and everyone's dynamic. So we don't know if they're skipping the Robins or if they're going to do it differently. But if you're going with Damian Wayne, you're kind of committing to a certain path where you're not going to have another Robin very shortly, because I don't think his son's going to die and he'll replace his son. It kind of makes sense if you replace a Dick Grayson, but I don't see him replacing a son as a Robin. So that part's going to be weird. I just really hope they do the whole Jason Todd thing, and you need Dick Grayson. I'm okay with not being Tim Drake. People like Tim Drake. I'm not a huge Tim Drake guy. He is cool, but I don't feel like he's as important to the Bat family story. But I just really hope they're not skipping over all the Robin stuff.
Batman gets around.
I know. Yeah. And if the Batman 2 does Robin, that would be crazy if you have 2 Batman movies coming out, both with Robin, because it's something we haven't seen since George Clooney era when it sucked. And you're going to have a brand new Batman. He'll have a Robin. Pattinson's Batman. He's going to have a Robin. But I don't see a Robin for Pattinson's Batman. I don't see him being a Robin kind of Batman at all.
Yeah. He needs to get older.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel quite time yet.
All right. Well, then, speaking of Batman, a little philosophical question here. Do you think Batman would work better as a character if he did kill, or is it perfect that Batman is so strict on not killing?
Nah, Batman can't kill. I mean, it's that number one rule. It's his morality. Because he's a dark character who has obviously had a very dark past, and I feel like killing would put him over the edge, turning him into not a hero but a villain. So that's kind of what keeps him on the good side.
Yeah,
I agree. I think if you take away that aspect of Batman and you make him start killing, you essentially turn him into the Punisher. And nothing against the Punisher. I like him. I like the series. I like the character as a whole. but I think he's slightly one-dimensional. And obviously, it wouldn't turn him exactly into the Punisher. He's still got the detective stuff, the rich billionaire stuff. He's not just an angry soldier. But I think it takes away a lot of the intricacies of Batman's character as a whole. And that's one of the reasons why I love Batman so much, is because how complex his backstory and his reasonings and his motivations are, and the demons he fights every night. I think that all just really creates who Batman is. So I wouldn't want to have him take that away. Elseworlds, maybe.
Yeah. Yes, I'm with you guys. So much of his story is based on him not killing. Like Red Hood wouldn't be a good character if not for that no killing rule. The philosophy wouldn't be able to get balanced if he had if he did kill, if he did just, decide to do it. You can't balance the opposing philosophies unless he was so strict the way he is, just completely 100% strict. So even in the most insane moments where he should clearly kill the villain, he doesn't, because it's such a strong, unbreakable belief. And we wouldn't be able to dive into that and dive into the opposing side of that should you murder debate if he killed. So yeah, I think it's totally central to the figure, and I don't think they should ever change that. And it's why his stories have such a higher ceiling than the Punisher. It's why his stories can be way more complex and tell way different stories. You're totally right. Punisher's one-dimensional, like Godzilla. Punisher's a force of nature kind of character that we just love to see him destroy. And that's not Batman at all. And yeah, if he started killing, then that's exactly what Batman would be. Freaking ninja Punisher. But let's be honest, an Elseworlds murdering Batman would be freaking sick.
It'd be pretty dope.
That'd be pretty dope. Cool. So, I don't have anything else. You guys have anything else to talk about?
I do have my little Game of Thrones topic. Since, all that Jon Snow show stuff's been going on, and out of all the spinoffs they can make, I feel like that's kind of the one where it doesn't totally make sense. It's just like Game of Thrones season 9, So I was thinking we should do our top 3 spinoffs we want to see, but it can't involve the Targaryens, because I feel like we've done this before, but all of our answers were like Aegon and blah, blah, blah. And no Robert's Rebellion, because obviously Robert's Rebellion would be up there for everyone.
I would go with a movie that just takes place on the Wall and maybe gives you origins to the White Walkers. Just a full-on...
Just a movie, though. That'd be sick.
What do they call it again? The Watch, yeah. So just the Watchers on the Wall, a movie like that. Give us an origin for the Nightwalkers. And aside from that, I'd want an Arthur Dane. You hear about he's the best swordsman ever. Show us. Throw a movie out there. Show us what his deal is. Whose side was he on? Like, why is he such a good swordsman? How many people did he kill? I want to see the body count. Like, some of his best matchups. That's like, okay, he just won this. He's the best swordsman on the planet. I want to see that.
One more? Are you good? Just 2? Top 2's fine.
Yeah, I'll think of one maybe.
Okay. I'll go next. I'll give Dave some time if he's not ready yet.
Always ready. That's fine.
I'm going to go What's West of Westeros with Arya, because that is kind of the one thing that left off from season 8 that could actually be a good show. And then I'm going to go with the young Tywin. So Tywin's one of the best characters in this whole show, and we don't know a lot about him. We know his father, I think it's only in the books, his dad was super weak. And, all the other lords basically ran over him, borrowed stuff, didn't pay him back. And that's how he learned to not be like his father, to be a badass ruler. So that would be a very cool story to see.
It would.
Nice.
You said we couldn't pick Targaryens, I thought.
No, Lannister.
Targaryen?
Oh, Lannister.
Tywin Lannister.
Oh, yeah, my bad. That's...
And then, so how Star Wars does the from a certain point of view books, where it's like Return of the Jedi. So they do that for Game of Thrones. So this is, this would never happen, but you get like the High Garden pre-Joffrey, find out what Elena is up to, kind of what her plan is, maybe like a what if series kind of thing. You can get Mance Rayder up on the wall, kind of what you're talking about, but kind of him building his army, getting things ready. Oberyn Martell, they did Sunspear and the Dorne so bad in the show. Like, they were barely involved, and then he gets killed, and then the daughters get killed, and that's about it for them.
Classic Alfred.
And last one, just a little Pycelle, Littlefinger, and Varys series. You know, like the three of them together, just fucking each other over, talking shit. It'd be so funny.
You could do like like an office style with them, just in the office trying to fucking backstab each other and talk to the camera about it.
Yeah, like a documentary series. Yeah, that'd be so funny.
Oh,
Dave,
what do we got? Some House of Dragon next.
House of the Dragon coming up. I'll bust it out. Yeah, Lub took one of mine. What's west of Westeros? So I wanted to follow Arya and see what's going on out there. Check that out. Another one, I would like to get the origins of the Children of the Forest and kind of the White Walkers. So something maybe just called Beyond the Wall, and we see how that all came to be, how the Children of the Forest, everything came to be, and the First Men and all that stuff. And then I would like, it's technically not Targaryen, Valyria, before the Doom of Valyria. I want to see what that was like back in that age with dragons flying everywhere and the top of the top technology and all that stuff. I think that'd be a pretty dope thing to dive into. So those are my three.
And that could tie into Arya's show, because if she's going west to Westeros, she's going to Valyria at some point, and there's, you know, those uninhabited continents that have like monsters and whatever. No one even knows what's on there, but it's probably like kind of the because I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was on Game of Thrones, but it's how George R.R. Martin got his using real life things where, you know, it's like the French and British history crossed with medieval history, and so, you know, it could be like where they think, you know, or even like where the Native Americans, they're like savages on this other continent that no one knows about. So it could just be where it's like just another place where people live, but people call it this uninhabited, crazy, you know what I mean?
Totally.
You know, what I would go for is a Khal Drogo Rise to Power movie and the Dothraki.
Ooh, there we go. Bring Jason Momoa back.
Yes, dude. Bro, it blows my mind how good he plays Khal Drogo, because
amazing.
He plays these other roles like a normal American speaking English, super goofy and like happy and like kind of a weird dude in like all the best ways. But then you go to Khal Drogo and it literally doesn't even seem like he speaks English. Like he's unable to speak, and he is just like such a menace. That was the first time I saw Jason Momoa. So when I first saw that character, I kind of assumed he didn't speak English or something. I had no idea, had no clue he was going to end up being like a Fast and the Furious villain, Aquaman. Like he's such a big character now, and he's such a regular funny dude. I had no idea that was going to come out of a character like whoever played Khal Drogo. Insane. All right. Well, about wraps it up then, huh?
I think that about wraps it up.
Alrighty then. Well, thank you guys for joining us on another episode of Nerd Therapy, our first Nerd Therapy. This might become a frequent episode. Again, TikTok, Instagram, X, Why So Sidious Pod. And check out, coming out soon, we got a ranking of all the DCEU projects. Which is Blue Beetle a part of that, by the way, guys? Because you know how they kind of said it's sort of... we're going to count it as DCEU, still is. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if they keep the character, it's just like Peacemaker in them.
Right.
But we'll go DCEU. So yeah, we're going to rank every movie on the DCEU. Say goodbye to that universe. And we also have our cities coming out. Just the awards for the nerd movies and shows coming out, best acting, best, funniest moment, best action, all kinds of awards for the 2023 year. So keep an eye out for that.
The second annual
Cities Awards. Yes. A lot of fun. So check it out. Mediocre year. As fun. Overall, this year has been pretty lame with the nerd stuff, huh? Would you agree? It
was a down year.
Yeah. I don't know how the 2024 city's going to go. With only one movie to pick from. Deadpool's gonna run the slate.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for joining us.